Welcome to Dream Chasers Radio, where we are always daring to be different. Get ready, get ready, get ready to be inspired. Let's get moving toward our goals. And here to make that happen is our host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, what's up? I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio. This is your host, Yaya Diamond. We have a wonderful show for you today, and we're going to go ahead and get started. We got Khalid the Poet on the line. What's up?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. How are you doing?
Oh, man, I tell you what, mixed up, and all mixed up. But that's okay. We're back on track. We're back on track. So please
no problem at all.
Yeah, and you know what? Radio. Live. That's all I got to say. But tell everybody who you are and what you do, please.
Sure. My name is Khalid. I'm a poet. I've published 16 books so far, traveled to about 25 countries in the past 5-6 years. And currently I'm getting my master's in sociology. And so right now I just recently published my 16th book called The Rise and Fall of a Revolutionary. And I just hope that it can be read by lots and lots of people and really start critical thinking and people to question, what's going on in America really right now and the crazy stuff that we see.
Awesome. Wow. 16. I mean, 16, that's a lot. To sit down and come up with 16 books. I mean, how did you get started on that?
Yeah, a lot of it came when I was younger, and through my experience, I grew up with a alcoholic father. My mother was schizophrenic, and she did drugs as well. So I grew up in a rough, household, and so that's where it all started, and I wanted to write about that when I was in my teenage years. And then after I wrote about that a little bit, I started traveling, and I realized this world is a huge place, and there's so many different types of people, different cultures, and different revolutions going on, whether it's, women standing up in other countries and wanting the right to vote, wanting the right to be a president. So I wanted to write about those struggles as well.
Wow. I mean, I have gotten through so many different interviews with writers that are so dedicated, just like yourself. And it just amazes me that they have more stuff within them that's that big, that just comes out. I mean, when you figured out that was what you were going to do, did it freak you out?
No, not really. I mean, it's quite natural for me to write a lot. It's something I feel better at writing than speaking sometimes, just because when I'm writing, I'm not closed by anything, meaning I don't have boundaries. I can write whatever I want. When you're speaking, you just sometimes have limitations of what you can say, if it's appropriate or not. But when I write, I feel like, I can say the truth without people attacking me. And if they do, well, they can write me back and they can reply with, an educated response instead of just emotions.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And you're right. You're so right. It is, it's just amazing to me. So you write poetry, and that's exactly what you do. You've done 16 books. And can you just tell me a couple of your prized ones, the ones that really brought out the best in you?
Sure. The first one, which was called Words from Shakespeare 2.0, that was my first collection of poetry. I felt a lot of pride in that just because it was when I first started out. I had a lot of confidence. During that time, the title spoke for itself, meaning I thought I was, the next Shakespeare, the 2.0 version, the better one. And so I had to get over my confidence, my ego, and traveling helped a lot because you see there's people in way worse situations. There's people going through a civil war in, parts of Africa and the Middle East. There's countries to where people are starving. They don't have clean water. And so when I came back to America, I had a roof over my head. I had a car. I didn't have to worry about food or money. And my ego was checked. I had to sit down and reflect about, what made me a man, what made me, my mother's son, and that's really what it was about.
Wow. Now, you are currently traveling, and you fell in love with the St. Cloud community. Tell us about that.
Yeah, traveling, it's wonderful because a lot of the people where I'm at right now in St. Cloud, Minnesota, there's a lot of people who traveled here as well. And this particular area in Minnesota has a lot of immigrants, so there's a lot of Somali immigrants, most specifically. And so it's nice to interact with other people. And in this particular community, I fell in love with it, both because there's good people, but also because there's things that can improve. So there's a lot of white people in this community, for example, that dislike immigrants and just hate them. Mm-hmm. And I really want to be the bridge between them and be like, what's your problem? Why do you hate people who are the opposite color than you? And I really want to get to the core and try to get it so they can sit down and have a cup of coffee instead of trying to kick one another out of the same community.
Yeah, and it's sad. I'm a black woman, and I've been called all kinds of things, even walking down in my own neighborhood, and it gets scary. It really does because I'm a person with ambitions for my children and ambitions for myself and anybody else in the world. And so it does get scary, and I don't understand it either. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get it. So
and it's just it's strange for me because when I look at my own complexion, a lot of people get confused because they look at me and I'm like the whitest dude in the room wherever I go. And so when I talk about these issues, they're really surprised because they don't ever think about someone saying these things when they're a part of the community, which most people see as being very actively hating others. And so it's just really something that I like, though, because it means there's something unique about it, that people listen, that people care. And it's strange, too, also because my own complexion and skin color and white people generally, they're immigrants, and they're mad at other immigrants even though we weren't here first, we came here. So it's kind of hypocritical, too, when I think about it.
Right. Well, let's talk about your new book, The Rise and Fall of a Revolutionary. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that particular title, if you want to talk about the title first, I got it because a lot of the people that I learned from when I grew up were revolutionaries like Huey Newton, who was the co-founder of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. I learned about Frederick Douglass, who ran for vice president alongside of a woman who ran for president during their time, and Nelson Mandela in South Africa. So I learned about all these revolutionaries, and I really wanted to have the same actions they took in their life in 2017. I wanted to be as impactful as they are during their time now.
Now, inside your book, you have a quote by Bryant McGill. Why did you put that quote? We are all damaged. We have all been hurt.
Yeah, that quote, it spoke to me just because the things that happened to me when I was younger, whether it was an alcoholic father who beat my mother, who abused me, growing up and seeing a lot of, I would say, violence, whether it was gangs, guns, drugs. A lot of people are seeing that. A lot of people are going through that. And there's not a single person on this earth who, through something, I have never met someone who has had no struggle whatsoever, who's had a perfect life, and that's something that we can use to connect to one another. Whether you're black, white, orange, purple, there's some pain that we've felt that can help us connect to another person to cross that line of, should I talk to you, should I not?
Right. Wow. Now, that's on Amazon. It's The Rise and Fall of a Revolutionary by Khalid Shakur. You can go ahead and get that off of Amazon. And it's really good. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. And paperback is $3.58. Now, I have so many wonderful questions, but the biggest question that I have for you is why? Why be so concerned about all this? Why?
The reason why is because whether I have kids or not, if I do nothing that's doing worse than the people who are doing evil in the world, at least I grew up and I was always reminded that someone who does nothing and sits there, they're doing more bad for this world than anything. I do think it's all of our duty to at least improve this world, to help others, to do things that are detrimental to benefit society. We can't improve society if we all just sit there and watch it go to hell, to be frank. There's no way to improve it if we don't go through actions and try.
Definitely. And you're right. In my neighborhood, it was a hell to go to hell in a handbasket. They be given. Here it is. Wow. And you're right. To do nothing is just to be a participant in the evil that is going on around you. So what's next for you?
Oh, it's a good question. I've always wanted to not only continue traveling, but it's more important to be a figure and a movement that's worth, putting effort and energy towards. That's not to say other movements aren't important, but something that really is important to me. I would love to successfully, be a part of a revolution, meaning for a group of people, for students or something, of any organization to invite me to come speak to them, to help them succeed in whether that is to war on drugs, to try to, I would say, decriminalize the system here. Since in America, for example, massive incarceration, African Americans and minorities are brought to jail and are criminalized for petty crimes compared to white people who do the same crime. So that's a topic, for example, that I wish people would invite me to their community to talk to others to figure out a solution.
Wow. And it's important. It's important to reach the youth. To reach the youth with this message of love, with inclusivity, and just outright acceptance of just being a person and not being a color. What do you think would be the message that you want to relay ultimately to anybody that you meet?
Sure. The message that I would relate is probably best used by example, is that I'm not someone who's afraid to go up to, for example, the Bloods, the gang, the Crips, the Latin Kings, and to tell them, stop what you're doing, join together, because you're hurting your community more than helping it. And if you join together, there's so much more you can accomplish. Like the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, for example, people know their history. They were able to get gangs to work together and police to police. They were able to protect their neighborhood. And that's something that I really wish we could go back to. And that's something, if communities invite me, I'm not afraid as an individual to go to those places, to talk to those men or women who are part of those gangs, because the only way to reach them is by talking to them. You can't be afraid.
It is someone who's very brave like you to go to each and every individual, because that's something that was what we used to do. We used to be a connected society, a very tight-knit community of people in the United States. I remember growing up, and if I got in trouble at school, I would get a butt whipping all the way home.
Yeah.
So, the neighbor would find out, and she'd beat me, and then I'd keep going. About a half a block down, the other lady would come out and say, I want to beat your booty, and you get another butt whipping. And by the time you got home, you've had like 5 or 6 butt whippings, and you didn't need another one. And you got punished, and everybody in the neighborhood knew who you were, whose kid. Oh, that's so-and-so's kid, and it's like, yeah, you in trouble now.
Yeah.
But now you don't get that. People are closing the door on young children, and I think that's one of the reasons that we're missing, and so many kids are going kidnapped. This society needs someone like you, and I want to thank you for being so brave and just being that person that kind of stands in the middle and asks the questions that most of us need to answer. what would you say to an older person who needs a checkup on the way they treat other people?
That is something that myself I've had to work on, just because talking to the youth is different than talking to someone who's a bit older, who's wiser, who's lived longer on this earth. So older people, I would just remind them that yes, times have changed, but what you were taught is still important, whether that's respect of elders, to where if you look at today, kids these days, they don't respect their elders. They'll badmouth them, they'll swear back or whatnot. So those same values that the older generation were taught, we need to teach our young people again. So I wouldn't make them feel bad for, being old, but living in a society where there's so many young people. I would tell them to keep teaching, kids what you were taught, because what you were taught were good morals, good values, respecting people.
Mhm. Yes, definitely. Wow. Now, I have to say that, you have such a passion for what you believe in and what you want to do. For your next step and for your next book, what do you think you have in mind?
I really would like to transition from books to on-screen media, whether that is working in the music industry, for example, working with talent who are into hip-hop, rap, R&B, to get back to, for example, the days of Public Enemy in his early music, NWA. And so to get back to that age of music, I think, is important. So I would love to go down that area and get more into the business for music. Or there's also, I would love to be able to do YouTube videos and really dramatize my poetry on video, to reenact them, to work with other artists who it'd be cool to travel to different places and get people in the video that people don't know about. Villages in Africa who are forgotten about by major cities, to get them in videos, to spread awareness that these people are here and we can't forget them.
Right. Wow. Yes. And when you do that, you have to let me know.
Yes, I'm definitely trying, so I'm pushing.
Yes, and when you do it, because we have faith in you here at Dream Chasers Radio, when you do that, let us know. Let us know.
Definitely
let us know. Yeah, someone that you want to give thanks to before we finish with your interview today, because it's just got to be someone behind you, because you seem like you're a strong person, and I know that you hopefully you have a very strong knit support system that comes behind you. If you don't, you're just very strong.
I would say it's a long list of people I want to thank, but it's most importantly, while I traveled, just the people who are hospitable, whether it was in Somalia, in Yemen, in Thailand, Indonesia, to where people would invite me to meet their parents, and I was a complete stranger. And they would give me dinner, they would take me out, show me around, they would pay for everything. So it's those people in those countries that I've met who I would thank the most, because those are the people that taught me kindness, humanity, love, unconditional love at that.
Wow. And you're right, because a lot of people don't understand being hospitable anymore. And then you go to a different country, it's totally different. It's not a 360, because that would be the same thing as what we have here. It's in the 180. It's like, wow, this still happens. Yeah. It's like a guy opening a door for a girl, and you're going, whoa. It doesn't happen that much anymore. Wow. Well, Khalid, thank you so much for being on the show. Please tell everybody where they can reach you.
Sure. Well, you can find me on a lot of places. I'm on Facebook under Khalid Zilberg is my last name with a Z. But you can find me on Twitter under KhalidThePoet, Instagram, KhalidThePoet, the same. On Amazon, you can search my name that she said on the book, which was Khalid Y. Shakur, as in Tupac Shakur. So Amazon, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, I'm pretty much all over. Awesome.
Khalid, thank you so much for being on the show again, and I want I want to extend the invitation to come back after everything is going through. When you get that thing going up and going, I want you to please come back on the show.
I definitely will. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And sorry for the mix-up at the beginning, but that's all right. We got it in. We did it.
Yes, we did.
Yes, definitely. All right, Khalid. Thank you so much. And
you
you
as
guys,
well.
if
Have
you
a
want
good
to
night.
see, you too. And if you guys want to see what Khalid is, all you have to go is just go to our description box, and you can connect with him on Facebook, Twitter, as well as on his website. Please keep in touch with him. If you want to donate, I am sure that Khalid will take donations. I know I would if I were Khalid, to go ahead and get things up and going. You know, we have to support each other and the dreams and the goals of our fellow dream chasers, and I definitely support him in 100%, and I'm looking forward to having him back here, and I'm just excited about everything for him. If you want to know where his book is, I'm going to go ahead and actually put that in the description box here. We're going to have that link up from Amazon right here for Khalid. But thank you so much, Khalid, for calling in.